What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talkin ATL Hawks podcast. We're just running a two-man show today. Um, a few days ago, Chase went down with the flu. And as of yesterday, I picked it up myself, but Chase was still not wanting to do the episode. But I'm going to try to power through it for
And
both
I'm
of us.
permanently disabled, so I guess we're all sick in that aspect. 'Cause I'm permanently disabled, but y'all two
I,
are.
gu- I guess it is rough out here, man. It is rough. I'm not quite built like Jordan. I don't know how in the world Buddy decided to play a whole basketball game in this condition, but I can't even describe what my body feels like right now. But it sucks. It's been several years since I've gotten the flu. So
Yeah, I can't
this
think of
is
the last time I got the flu.
yeah, this is like an out of body experience right here. But nonetheless, we've got four games to get into. So first of all, Joyner, how tell us a little bit about how your week's been going. I know your Arkansas Razorbacks are going to the Sweet 16, so your spirits probably have to be a little bit high.
Well, I mean they are high, but I'm also scared about who we have to play. We got to play Arizona on Thursday. Not looking forward to it, but I mean, hopefully Jerry
Hey,
Cup can keep doing what he's been doing and playing at a high level because like that's the only way that we're gonna have a chance to win is if he plays how he's been playing this whole year and yeah, I just gotta beat Arizona, get to the Elite Eight, and power on.
that's right. Hey, to be the best, you got to beat the best, man. So
Yeah.
why not start with Arizona? In terms of your bracket, how's your March Madness bracket looking?
Oh, it broke literally after the first game because I had TCU losing, and then they beat who they played that
Ohio
first
State.
game. Yeah, Ohio State. I had TCU losing that game, but they've been on a tear until they just lost yesterday, I believe.
Yeah, they got smacked by Duke on Friday, which
Yeah,
they gave Duke a run for their money, or I think it was Saturday, actually, not Friday. But
yeah, it was Saturday.
they gave Duke a run for their money for a little bit. I think Duke ended up winning by 20 something, but they didn't
Duke's
really
not
pull
been playing
like
their best basketball. Like they nearly got round one exited by Siena, and just
yeah, it's they're just a second half team. They look really rough in the first half, but they always dominate the second half. That's
yeah,
how they've been all year long. So we'll see. We'll see if they can carry this on or if it's going to catch up to them eventually. We'll see. They've got a big game against St. John's in the Sweet 16. Duke is who I picked to win the champion. So my
yeah.
bracket's not looking terrible. I've only got one Final Four team eliminated. I had Vandy going to the Final Four. I was really high on Vandy, and they played Nebraska a really good game, but
Yeah,
obviously fell short. But every year I pick some kind of sleeper pick in my Final Four, and Vandy was my sleeper pick this year.
yeah.
So
No, yeah, no.
I'm
In
looking
terms of my
excited.
final four, I've got I'm the same boat as you. One of my final four picks is out in Virginia.
Hmm,
That was my long shot pick, but they just lost to
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Yeah, so they're
Yep.
out. But
Yeah, but that's
I'm really honestly, I'm really honestly after seeing what Iowa did to Florida last night. Like I think that like they might make the Final Four. That's a hot take. They might make the Final Four.
you know how I felt about that. I
Oh
was
yeah, no, oh, no.
I was I was pretty
I bet
ecstatic.
you
I
were
was
happy. I bet you were really happy.
pretty ecstatic to see both Miami and Florida miss out on the Sweet 16. Even though I had Miami in my Elite Eight, I always pull against them. So that was the
Yeah,
one pick that I wasn't too upset if I got wrong.
yeah.
But life, that's just March. Expect the unexpected. That's just what happens. But nonetheless, we're going to get into some Hawks basketball. It was a very eventful week for the Atlanta Hawks this previous week. Four-game stretch starting on Monday against the Orlando Magic on what was supposed to be Magic City Monday. But, we talked about it last episode how that all kind of
How
went down.
Yeah, about how about how some certain NBA players didn't feel like it was appropriate that the Hawks did that, even though it had nothing to do with what goes on inside that building. Is it's more about the food and the atmosphere.
Hey,
It's nothing about the adult women that like to take off their clothes there. Even though
dude,
that's
the
what
wings
they
are
get
that
paid
good.
to do. That's their job. But I
Listen,
mean,
I will say at the end of the day, Magic City still came out as winners
yeah,
because I did find out that after that Hawks game, apparently everybody in Atlanta shot over to Magic City because that Monday night became the highest grossing night in the history of Magic City.
yeah,
So at the end of the day, they still won. So
yeah.
hey, it is what
Um,
it is. But yeah, so of course, before we get into those games, we do have to start with a start bench cut. So I do have an interesting one for you, Joyner.
okay.
The playoffs are creeping in, so it's time for us to start talking about playoff basketball.
Ooh,
And what better way to start talking about playoff basketball than the Atlanta Hawks potential first round matchup? Now, as of right now, we're sitting as the sixth seed. Now, the Eastern Conference off from the 10th seed all the way up to the second seed is really, really tough. Well, I say second seed, really just the fourth seed. The Celtics and the Knicks kind of have an edge on everybody else, but so really just from the 10th seed to the fourth seed, we'll keep it a little simple. So a lot can happen in the last few games of the NBA regular season. So we're just going to play this off where the Hawks are right now. Now it seems like the way things are trending, the Atlanta Hawks are either going to play one of three teams in the first round, that being the Raptors, the Cavaliers, or the New York Knicks. So, Jordan, I want you to tell me on those three teams, who do you think the Atlanta Hawks match up best against for the first round of the NBA playoff?
you said the Raptors, the Knicks, and the Cavs. I believe.
Cavaliers.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. The Cavaliers no longer have Darius Garland, and he's a good point guard.
But they
But they
have
still have Donovan
James.
Mitchell.
They have James the Beard Harden now.
Yeah, but he's what, 37?
He is 37, but he's still balling out. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, and they also have Donovan Mitchell. They also have Evan Mobley. They also have Jared Allen. And they no, they don't have DeAndre
Not
Hunter
anymore.
because DeAndre Hunter got traded to Sacramento. Um,
They do have Dennis Schroeder. Don't forget about that.
yeah, they have Schroeder. Yeah, wait, the cap. Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
And
true.
Keon Ellis. They got Keon Ellis as well. So
Yeah,
that lineup is very stacked.
Keon. Yeah, no, that's right. I think Keon Ellis was in that. Was part of that. DeAndre Hunter trade.
Yes, sir.
Um, let's see. The Knicks, obviously, they got Brunson, Cat, Macau,
OG.
OG, Sochan, uh,
Jose Alvarado as well.
Jose, yeah, Alvarado. And then the Raptors, of course, they got Scotty Barnes,
There you go.
um,
Brandon Ingram.
Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett. Who's that
Grady
point
Dick.
guard? Yeah, Grady Dick. Who's that point guard they got?
Point guard. Is it Emmanuel quickly?
Yeah, Emmanuel Quickly. They got him. You know what? I'm gonna bet. Um, I mean, and like, do you want me to like rank these on like who I want us to play? Like my preference.
Yeah,
Uh,
like who do you think would give the Hawks the best chance of winning that first round?
okay, okay. Um, you know, I would say, I would, and I'm saying like I'm starting it as the I'm starting it like the team I start was the team that the Hawks have the best chance of beating. Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay, I got you now. You know, I would have started the Knicks had they still had Coach Tibbs, because you know how Tibbs likes to like run his starters into the ground and not play deep into his bench.
Yeah. Yeah, he forgets he has.
yeah, no, but I think Coach Mike Brown has been playing his bench a lot, but has been playing a lot his bench a lot more.
Let me go turn this fan on
Okay,
real quick.
so
It is toasty.
yeah, so you know what? I'm gonna um
Oh,
I'm gonna start the Cavaliers just because I mean just because they don't only have Darius Garland. They got James Harden who's 37. Um,
ooh.
and like I just think that the Hawks team can play well against them for at least 4 games. I'm gonna bench. I'm gonna bench to. I don't know. Um, I'm gonna bench Toronto, and I'm gonna cut the Knicks because now that we don't have Trey, now that Trey Young is a factor because Trey Young against the Knicks in the playoffs. That's the thing. So since we no longer have the Nick Killer, Trey Young, and now that they no longer have Coach Tibbs to run his starters into the ground, I uh, I uh, Knicks really scare me, and so I'm gonna start Cleveland, bench Toronto, cut the Knicks.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think your list is pretty accurate, Jordan. Now we kind of know the history between the Hawks and the Raptors over the last few years. Not a lot of success against the Toronto Raptors. They've
Yeah,
had our number a lot lately.
yeah,
Seems like
especially game 1 of the season.
it seems like ever since they've gotten RJ Barrett on that team, they've just really been a new power force in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah,
Emmanuel Quickly's kind of, revived himself in Toronto. He's really kind of shown up as a true point guard for that city. Scotty Barnes, man, I mean, he is still, just showing, why he's probably one of the more slept on players in the league, especially in terms of rebounding. But yeah, I think I'm actually gonna. It's tough. It's tough. I think I'm gonna agree with you, and I think I'm gonna.
okay.
No, I'm actually going to switch it up. I'm actually going to. I know I just kind of threw this all out there about Toronto, but
Yeah.
I'm actually going to start Toronto. I'm going to
Okay.
start Toronto as the favorite. Now, the reason why I say that is yes, the Hawks have not shown a lot of favor towards the Raptors in our previous matchups, but they haven't met the revamped Atlanta Hawks yet. I think
Yeah,
the
for sure.
state of this team right now would handle that Raptors lineup a whole lot better than what we've seen earlier in the year and onto last season. So I'm actually going to start the Raptors because I think they've got the least threatening lineup for sure, and they haven't really had a strong month of March. They've
Yeah,
kind of
no, you're
slipped
right.
down a little bit.
We don't play Toronto. We don't play Toronto for the rest of the season. We just always, yeah, no, I don't think we play Toronto for the rest of the season. Yeah, so yeah, so they haven't seen. Yes, they won't see this new team that we got
Absolutely.
into the playoffs. We'll play Cleveland twice next month, and then we'll play the Knicks also next month. So yes, so we'll see New York and Cleveland next month anyway. So
Yeah. And to bench, I think I am going to bench the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, I'm not going to lie, I am a little scared of Cleveland, especially the way they've been playing lately. I
yeah,
do think James Harden was a very nice addition to that Cavs roster. And of course, they've got a lot of sneaky players. Dennis Schroeder's always a reliable guy you can have coming off your bench to be a playmaker. Donovan Mitchell, I mean, he can drop 50 points, whenever he needs to, especially in a playoff game. So that's a very explosive lineup, but I am going to cut the Knicks because I think they definitely have the most stacked roster from top to bottom. I mean, Jalen Brunson, since he left the Mavericks, had been, in my
yeah,
opinion, a top 5 point guard in the NBA. Karl Anthony Towns, he hasn't been playing his most consistent basketball lately, but he's still, you know, recognized as one of the best centers in the league, especially when it comes to shooting. They've got a lot of threats. OG Anunoby is probably, he's just such a defensive presence for that team as well. They're just a really tough team to contain. While that would be a really fun series because of the, beef with I know it was mainly with Trae Young, but I think even though Trae Young's no longer here, that would still create a lot of, noise for that playoff series. So it would be very entertaining. But I definitely think if you're talking about our best chances of winning, it would be the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
Cleveland, very, very close second, though. Very close second. But yeah, so that was the start bench cut. I think it's definitely getting closer and closer to playoff time. So it's just something that I wanted to bring up so we could discuss it in regards of who the Hawks might be playing. But like I said, we got 4 games to get into, so we won't waste any time. We'll jump right into it, starting with that first game against the Orlando Magic. Now, going into this matchup, it was between two of the hottest teams in the NBA. The Atlanta Hawks were on a 9-game winning streak going into this matchup, while the Orlando Magic was on a 7-game win streak. Now, at the time, the Orlando Magic held on to that 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, which is the spot that the Atlanta Hawks so desperately wanted. So, big game in terms of all aspects across the board. Now, this was really a big prove-it game for Atlanta as well, because if you've been around social media, any posts you see about the Atlanta Hawks, a lot of mixed reviews in the comment section, mainly in regards to how weak the Atlanta Hawks schedule has been during this 9-game winning streak up until that point, which you've got to give them some credit because, yes, we have played some of the bottom teams in the
That's not
NBA.
necessarily our fault as well. That's really Adam Silver's fault for giving us a weak schedule. I mean,
Well, of course, it's not. Yeah, of course, it's not our fault. But you can't
yeah,
blame the fans for saying that the Atlanta Hawks haven't really proved themselves yet because
yeah.
we played, the Raptors twice. No, it's not the Raptors. The Wizards twice. The Bucks twice. The Nets twice. I mean, those are undoubtedly some of the weaker teams in the NBA. So you can't really blame them for having those mixed reviews. Now, this was a proven game for the Atlanta Hawks because even though the Orlando Magic has been without Franz Wagner, they've been injury prone themselves going into this matchup, but they have still been one of the more threatening teams in the Eastern Conference. They were coming off a really big win against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So yes, this was a big prove-it game for Atlanta, which is why I really believe, the Atlanta Hawks played, with such a passion going to this game because they've heard the noise themselves. These players, they're not, vanished from social media. They know what the fans have been saying. They know what the critics have been saying. So they want to shut the noise just as much as us Hawks fans want them to do themselves. But Jordan, I want to hear your early thoughts on this game. Tell me what you liked about how the Hawks came into this game.
I mean, personally, a woman like me personally, like someone that just someone that I want to give a shout out to. Honestly, is Nall because he had a really great game, dropping 41 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, shutting out the noise that over the past I want to say month and a half, he's been really struggling being a scorer. And that's not again that's not exactly why we signed him. Why we signed him almost a year ago. Because obviously we started Trae Young on the team last year. We thought that Nall would just be that 6-man role, backing up Trae until Trae Young went down with the injury back in October, and until we eventually traded him 3 months ago. 2 months. About 3 months ago. Not over the past couple of weeks, and hasn't really been dropping consistently 20 plus points a night. But he erupted this night with dropping 41 points, 12 for 21 from the field, 9 for 14 from three. And Jalen Johnson also dropping what he usually does as a triple double, 24 points, 15 rebounds, and 13 assists, along with the steal, and then the Congo dropping 15 points. And Dyson Daniels also having a double double with 15 points, 12 rebounds, and yeah, just amazing, just amazing performance by our starting lineup.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, thankfully, Chase and I were very fortunate to actually get last minute tickets to this game. So we
Yeah,
were able to go
I
see.
figured I weren't gonna miss. I figured you weren't gonna miss out on this game, but
Right, right. And when I say literally last minute, I'm talking about like right when we got off work. We got last minute tickets to this game. It was like a, snap decision. So yeah, so we pulled up to this game and yeah, and we, you said it, Joyner, not Nikhil Alexander Walker, he's had, a really big identity crisis, this season because,
yeah,
back when he was playing for the Timberwolves, that Western Conference semifinal matchup against the Oklahoma City Thunder is what really, raised his value during free agency because he just really went off in that series. But he was still nonetheless a role player in Minnesota. And, we talk about it a lot. Nikhil Alexander Walker, we've seen times this season where he's really found his footing and seems to be, placing himself in this foundation with the Atlanta Hawks roster. But then, like you said, Jordan, there's been those matchups where he seems like he's kind of been off cue a little bit, doesn't really know what role he should be playing, and he's had his fair share of struggles. Now, recently, he's kind of found his footing again. During the win streak, he's been a really reliable piece for the Atlanta Hawks. Still trying to prove if he's really what the Atlanta Hawks see as a true point guard moving forward. But this game really said it all, Jordan. Like you said, erupted for a career high 41 points. I mean, he was, sticking his hand
yeah,
in every basket for the Atlanta Hawks in this game, just getting involved on every part of the court. And I think what I really liked about Nikhil Alexander-Walker in this game was, of course, the 41 points, but his ability to just, defensively as well. He had two steals that led to, that contributed to his 41 points, but he was just, creating space for himself. It seemed like the Atlanta Hawks had a lot of trust in him. They knew exactly where to find him on the catch and shoot. He was really active when he was off ball, and that just, created those scoring opportunities for him. And, Nikhil Alexander Walker, he's always been that streaky guy. Once he, starts to feel a little flame come on, then it's wraps for any defense he's up against. And then, of course, it's Jalen Johnson had a triple double himself, like you said, 24 points, 13 assists, 15 rebounds, all defensively. Jalen Johnson was one of the main contributors to Nikhil Alexander Walker in terms of knowing where he was at all times, especially coming off screens. Onyeka Okongwu, 15 points himself, but like you said, Jordan, Dyson Daniels also really phenomenal game. We always talk about it. He's just, quietly built himself as one of the more reliable rebounding point guards in the NBA. And that 12 rebounds, six offensive even. I mean, he's just the ability for him to cut through any paint and get offensive rebounds, create second chances is just incredible. And, that shouldn't go unnoticed. And very quiet night for CJ. He played about 32 minutes, only scored 9 points, but that was okay because a lot of other players picked up the slack. Now, if the last time that the Orlando Magic was in Atlanta, it was an absolute crap fest for the Orlando Magic. It was earlier in the year, just like this game. It was nationally broadcasted on NBC, and the Atlanta Hawks just absolutely routed the Orlando Magic.
yeah,
Now, one thing that happened in that game was a big scuffle between Mohamed Gay and Desmond Bain that led to some technicals. And ever since that game, Desmond Bain has really left a sour taste in the mouth of these Atlanta Hawks fans. And we all know, you've been to Hawks games yourself, Jordan. We know what the 6-man section loves to do. They love to hold
yeah,
in on one player and try everything they can to get into their head. Well, Desmond Player was that lucky man of the night. Every single time he would touch the ball, I mean, it was just an outpour of booze all throughout the arena. And we really spoke it into existence. Now, it wasn't the worst night for Desmond Bain. He did have 18 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds. But believe me, the way Desmond Bane has been playing lately, that is very contained in numbers. And even Paolo Banchero, man, I mean, he's been the front runner for this injury-riddled Orlando Magic, and he
Yeah.
only had 18 points. He did have 10 rebounds, but he shot the ball horrific. He shot 3 for 13 from the field. Most of his points coming from the free throw line. But the Atlanta Hawks really did a nice job preventing him from getting into the paint for an easy look at the rim, which is what he's been doing all season and how he's been, presenting himself to all these defenses. And the Orlando Magic was never able to find a reliant scoring option. I mean, they had guys like Javon Carter had his moment in the second quarter. De Silva had an okay moment in the third quarter, but throughout the night, once the Orlando Magic got down big, they stayed that way. I mean, the Atlanta Hawks built themselves a sizable lead going into the half. And Quinn Snyder, credit to him, did a really good job making sure the Atlanta Hawks did not lose their footing because in the NBA, I mean, leads can disappear, at a snap of a finger. It's a game of runs. But we really did a good job keeping the Orlando Magic from making any sizable runs. So it was a cakewalk for the Atlanta Hawks to their 10th straight victory. The first time the Hawks have won 10 straight since that 2015-2016
Yeah.
season. So the vibes were high in Atlanta. Like I said, Magic City was the place to be, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Did you
high
guys go to
vibes
Magic
all
City
around.
after the game or
No,
no?
no,
Dang it.
we did not. We had work in the morning, so we had
Yeah.
to we had
Yeah.
to make it back
I don't
home.
blame you. Yeah, I don't blame you.
Oh yeah,
Like, real quickly, going back to the Nah discussion, there was like an NBA article that came out about the 10 best and worst free agency decisions of last summer. They have the Atlanta Hawks assigning Nah. I'm at 3 as the third best. I'm at 2 and 1. They have Oklahoma City extending AJ Mitchell and then trading for Jared McCain at 2. And then for number 1, they have Charlotte Hornets drafting Connor Knippel. I just want to get your thoughts on that. Do you think that's a good call, or do you think that they put the that they put like that the Nah signing should be at maybe 2? Because I think that the Connor Knippel thing that the Connor Knippel thing deservedly should be at 1. I'm just not sure about the number 2 thing with OKC.
yeah, absolutely, Jordan. You're absolutely right. I mean, Colin Canoodle, I have
Yeah,
no problems with that. He's probably gonna win Rookie of the Year. If he
yeah,
doesn't, then it's rigged. Yeah, he's definitely undoubtedly been the best offseason pickup for any team in the NBA. But I kind of agree with you, Jordan. I mean, I do think Mitchell, the OKC re-signing Mitchell. Yeah, I mean he was one of the biggest pieces for them in their finals run last season. Played a really good game 7 for them to solidify their win. So obviously, re-signing him to that big extension was a pivotal move for the franchise. But if we're talking about this season alone, I think it's definitely up to debate that Nickeil Alexander-Walker should be at that 2 spot, especially the way he's been playing this month alone.
yeah,
I don't have any problems with it per se because I think you can make an argument on both sides, but definitely I do think it's up to discussion that Nickeil Alexander-Walker might be more deserving of that second spot.
yeah, for sure. I mean, um, I mean, yeah, like we said earlier, like we didn't sign Nah to play like he's been playing. We signed him to back up Trey Young and just be a good and just be and a defensive guy off the bench. But since Trey got hurt and since we traded him away, I mean, Nas stepped up and hey, like well, if he doesn't get the Most Improved Player of the Year award, I I don't know.
I would be absolutely ashamed of the NBA if he does not get Most Improved Player. That would just be absolutely absurd.
I can see.
Um,
I can also see them not giving it to him because they don't want because they probably wouldn't want two two guys at the same team to get it back to back. But I mean, that's just my thing. But I mean, yeah. So
I mean, listen, you can't let the team that they play for determine who's deserving. I mean, if you're deserving of it, then you're deserving of it. It
yeah,
doesn't
for
matter
sure.
what team you play for. I mean, Well, it's not our fault that our GM made really big moves back to back, getting Dyson Daniels and Nikhil Alexander-Walker. I mean, he's got a head for the game. You can't punish him for that. Yeah, I mean there's obviously some other guys that you could throw into that conversation, of course. But I think if we're all being honest with ourselves, absolutely, Nikhil Alexander-Walker deserves that award. Now, I am going to go blow my nose really quick.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna
give
bring
me
in.
like,
Do you want me to go ahead and start breaking in the second game against
yeah,
the Mavericks?
yeah, you go right ahead. I'll be back in like 20 seconds, but you can go
Okay.
and start.
Okay. Yeah. So for the second game of this pod that we will be talking about is the wins was the Hawks game against the Dallas Mavericks on Wednesday, March 18th, which is actually, fun fact, it's Mr. Andrew and Chase's birthday. So they had a night a nice game to watch on their birthday. Um, but yeah, the leading scorer was CJ McCollum shooting nine for 14 from the field, 0 for 3 from three, 24 points, seven assists, 0 rebounds. Jalen Johnson dropping in a dangling a back-to-back triple-double with 17 points, 7 for 19 from the field, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. Onyeka Okongwu had 12 points, almost a triple-double. Almost a double-double with 9 rebounds. Nall had 22 points, still keeping that scoring, still scoring at a high level. Dyson Daniels had probably one of his best offensive games this season, scoring 19 points, 9 for 13 from the field, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. And then Jonathan Kuminga and Corey Kispert off the bench each had 16 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and Kispert had 10 points, 3 rebounds, and yeah. So how was this game to watch on your birthday?
Yeah, this was our birthday. Yeah,
Yeah,
actually, thanks for reminding me. I kind of forgot this was on our birthday. But yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So
no problem.
so I was out eating dinner with my family during this
Yeah,
game, but luckily we were eating at a restaurant that had a TV with the game going on it. So I was
where
able
you
to get
go?
the. We went to this place on the square.
Not Jefferson's.
No, 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 no. On the in the Carrollton Square, it's
Okay.
slipping my name. It's a really good Italian place.
Wait,
God, I
Paula's?
cannot think. No, no, I cannot think of the name of this place. It's driving me crazy.
Okay.
Um, if it comes to my mind, I'll let you know, but
Yeah.
I cannot think of the name. Anyways, yeah, really good place. But anyways, yeah, so I was able to get the best of both worlds here. But yeah, it was just like what you expected, just like when the Mavericks came to Atlanta earlier, just a few weeks ago. I mean, the Atlanta Hawks just jumped right over the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, now we all know the Dallas Mavericks, what they've been through this year in terms of injuries and just low expectations. I mean, Cooper Flag, he's not living up to the Rookie of the Year expectations like
Like we
everybody
were just
thought he
talking
was.
about, we think Colin Kinnipple should get the Rookie of the Year. Like we were just talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, of course, everybody going to the season thought it was going to be easily Cooper Flag. But he got off to a slow start this season. Around December is when Cooper Flag just really started going off. He had a lot of 40-point games in December. So everybody was like, wait a minute, Cooper Flag might actually be, the replacement for Luka Doncic. But then everybody had to punt their brakes really quick because ever since December, Cooper Flag has been very inconsistent. And he's had a big turnover issue, especially in this game. The 6 turnovers. And you can just tell that Cooper Flag, he tries to do a little too much sometimes because I think he understands the expectations that's on him, and he really wants to prove himself as that next star player. Which, of course, nobody's blaming him. And, I mean, you really want to see him max out to his full potential, but
And
I do think he.
to be fair, like this lineup isn't very like support. Isn't a very good supporting cast, but besides Clay Thompson,
It's
I mean,
not.
like he had PJ Washington, Najee Marshall, Max Christie, and Ryan Nimhart as his starting supporting cast, and like when you're going up against like Nah and Dyson, he was like one of the best, if not the best, defensive guard duo in the NBA. I mean, you're gonna turn the ball over as a main ball handler, and that's just what Cooper Flag did. So
Right. I think it just, there has to be a point. I think he just has to kind of learn to let the game come to him,
yeah,
because there are several moments in the game where, he set a screen for somebody, they give it back to him, at the top of the key, and then he immediately tried to force a pass inside for a layup. Even though you've got a Yeke Kongu or Jonathan Kaminga standing right there, like he doesn't let the game, play itself. He tries to come to the game and force things that aren't even there. And I think that's just been a problem that we've seen as of late. But the Atlanta Hawks, of course, I had no complaints because it just made it a lot easier for the Hawks defense to force those turnovers. The Hawks have been great on transition all season long, especially during this winning streak. And, it was just like I said, just like when the Mavericks came to Atlanta, we Klay Thompson, I mean, sure, he's one of the best off-ball players in the NBA. Not a lot you can do about that. I mean, he had 17 points. I think he made 4 3-pointers. Most of them were wide open, but that's just the Klay Thompson effect. Even when you
yeah.
think you can guard him, you really can't. So, sure, we'll let that slide. PJ Washington, ever since he was a Charlotte Hornet, he's just been an Atlanta Hawks slayer. 23 points, he did his thing. But other than that, I mean, the Atlanta Hawks shut everything down. Daniel Gafford had a random 24-point game, but that's completely okay because Daniel Gafford's never going to do that again this season, coming off the bench. So that's fine. And then, the Atlanta Hawks, like you said, Jordan, just really came off to a quick start. That's been, one of Quinn Snyder's, main focus points this season was to not get off to slow starts like we were earlier in the year. And that's all credit to guys like Dyson Daniels. I mean, we're going to be talking about him just about the entire episode. Jalen Johnson, like you said, Jordan, he was really just one assist away from another triple-double like he's been all season long. CJ McCollum had a good bounce-back night. Like I said, not the greatest shooting performance against the Magic, but a smooth 24 points. He had such a big third quarter coming right out of halftime. And I don't know if you mentioned this while I was gone, Joiner, but if you did, please excuse me for repeating it. But Jonathan Kaminga, I mean, look, we all saw it. It was the shot heard around the world. The 74. Okay.
No, oh no, I didn't mention it. No, that was this game.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure, but it was the
Yeah,
74.
it was this game. Yeah.
Yes, the 74-foot shot from the other free throw line to end the third quarter. Now,
and like he even like mean that was not a shot. I think it was like a lob pass to Jock Landale.
It was.
Yeah, he was not going to score that.
Which is what makes it even better because it was a breakaway transition for the Atlanta Hawks. Yeah. We just got a defensive stop. Kaminga got the rebound. Credit Jock Landale. He was on the same page as Kaminga. Immediately starts sprinting down the court. There was 2 seconds left. Kaminga was going to do his best to get a tip shot from Jock Landale. Threw it a little too high, which ended up working in his favor because it somehow went off the glass and went in. And it's funny because as soon as the shot went in, the camera.
I don't even think it even went off the glass. I think just like I think the angle was like perfect where it just switched in. I don't think it went off the glass.
It might have, but it was really fun.
I'll see if we find it again, but
the camera. As soon as the shot went in, the camera, panned right over to Jonathan Kaminga, and his eyes were wide open. I mean, he had his hands on his head. He couldn't believe it and that kind of gave it away right there. That was no chance was that a shot. And even Jock Landale was stunned because he thought that ball was coming right to him. And thankfully, he didn't touch it or didn't interfere with the rim because obviously that would have been offensive goaltending. So good awareness from Jock Landale for throwing his hands down real quick because even he saw that it had a good chance of going in. So he didn't want to interfere with it. So, and that was just the, cherry on top of the sundae. We already had a big lead at that point. That just extended it even further.
That shot went straight in. It did not hit nothing.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, just
absolutely crazy.
What a pass from Jonathan Kaminga.
And look, to throw some even more icing on the cake, that broke an NBA record for longest regulation shot in NBA history. Now, there has
Was it?
been
Oh, wait, was it NBA or was it like Hawks? Longest shot by a Hawk.
no, that was an NBA record, the longest regulation shot to go. And now there is a big asterisk there because there has been shots go in from longer distances, but neither of those shots counted because of either offensive goaltending or time, didn't get off in time. So
Oh,
that was
okay.
the longest record shot in NBA history that
That count
actually
back.
counted.
Okay. I got
So
you.
credit Jonathan Kaminga made some NBA history along the way, but yeah, the
Yeah.
Atlanta Hawks cruised their way to a dominant 135 to 120 win, which of course marked the Atlanta Hawks 11 straight victory and the third straight game where the Atlanta Hawks scored at least 120 points. Just to throw that out there for you guys,
Yeah.
just kind of shows how efficient the Atlanta Hawks offense has been. But yeah, and I don't know if you have any closing remarks about this game, Joyner.
I actually did not. No.
Okay.
I mean, I completely forgot about that shot. I don't know how I forgot. I also thought that it was against the Warriors or something. The Warriors because I guess the blue jerseys, I guess. But yeah,
Right, right.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, so moving on, of course, the Hawks, 11 game win streak. We talked about a prove it game against
yeah,
the Orlando Magic. Now, this was a prove it game going to Houston to
yeah,
cap off a 2 game Texas road trip against the Houston Rockets. Now, earlier this year, the Houston came to Atlanta. Chase and I were fortunate to go to that game. Shout out Travis who goes to our church. Not the prettiest of performers, though. The Atlanta Hawks got absolutely routed by Kevin Durant and Reed Shepherd, and the Atlanta Hawks were looking for their big get back game against the same team. Now, the Houston Rockets, I mean, my goodness, going into this game, they weren't on an 11 game win streak like the Atlanta Hawks, but they have been one of the more dominant teams in the Western Conference, a very loaded Western Conference at that. And now, I kind of thought that this was going to play into the Atlanta Hawks' favor because the Houston Rockets just had back-to-back losses against the LA Lakers going into this game. So I was like, hey, 2 straight really heartbreaking losses for the Los Angeles Lakers. Maybe their morale's down. Maybe the Atlanta Hawks are catching them at a good time. Unfortunately, that just wasn't the case. Joyner, tell us a little bit about how this game went.
yeah. I'll start off with Houston's stats. Kevin Durant, turning back the clock. Well, not necessarily turning back the clock, but dropping 25 points, doing what he does. Three rebounds, 6 assists, shooting 9 for 15, 3 for 5 from three. Jabari Smith Jr. 23 points, 3 for 8 from three, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Durant also had 2 steals and 2 blocks. Sengun double double, 15 points, dang near triple double, nine 9 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals. Amen Thompson, 14 points, 5 for 10 from the field, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and then Reed Shepherd, 14 points, 5 for 10 from the field, 4 for 7 from three, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and standing at 6'2", 2 blocks. So yeah. And then off the bench, Tari Eason with 10 points. And then for the Hawks, I mean, like, it was just the score with the scoring. Like Houston's defense locked us up. Okongwu had 6 points. Didn't shoot the ball very well. 2 for 9 from the field. 1 for 4 from three. 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Jalen Johnson, quiet night. 14 points. 5 rebounds, 3 assists. 4 turnovers. CJ McCollum, 17 points. 7 for 11. Shout out the gas station. 2 for 5 from three.
Yeah,
From three. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, three turnovers, No, 21 points, 8 for 9 from the free throw line, four rebounds, 4 assists. Dyson didn't 3 points, 1 for 5 from the field, but Zach off the bench at 16 points. You'll get the point. Basically, Houston locked us up. When you have Jalen Johnson only scoring 14 points, if Jalen Johnson only scores 14 points and the rest of the Hawks supporting cast doesn't do their job and support him, then it usually doesn't turn out well for the Atlanta Hawks, and that's just unfortunately what happened. Houston's defense was just too much for this Atlanta Hawks team, and no Jonathan Kuminga for this game either. He's dealing with this a shoulder injury or something.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you said it, Joyner. You're absolutely right. The Atlanta Hawks. This was a really big, this was really just a game of the Hawks just, constantly having to crawl their ways back into this game. We found ourselves down by 10 plus in the first quarter, had a strong finish, got it back into a single digit deficit. Same thing in the second quarter. Let it slip away from us, went on a big run, got to narrow the margin just a little bit more. Same with the third quarter. The Rockets jump started really quick thanks to Kevin Durant. Got it within a 6-point game, but then halfway through the third quarter, just completely lost control, and the Houston Rockets were able to run away with it for good, officially ending the Atlanta Hawks 11-game win streak. And what was really disappointing was the 95 points from the Atlanta Hawks. We lost 117-95 after coming off 3 straight games scoring 120 plus. The Atlanta Hawks were just really cooled down, like you said, Jordan, by this really relentless Houston Rockets defense. And points were just hard to come by. It's as simple as that. Dyson Daniels, like you said, Jordan, he's been one of the more reliant scorers, surprisingly enough, on this roster during this win streak. Was limited to just 3 points and only took 5 shots the entire night, which is really unlike Dyson Daniels. That just goes to show how quickly the Houston Rockets managed to close out these open opportunities for the Atlanta Hawks. The Alexander Walker, like you said, Joyner, just no supporting cast around him, even from Jalen Johnson, even though he did shoot 50% from the field. Onyeka Okongwu, this was a really awkward game for him. He only scored 6 points. He did have, easily the best highlight for the Atlanta Hawks. Had a really nice poster in the third quarter about the last exciting thing that happened for the Atlanta Hawks in this game, because it was about that point in time when the Rockets really start to pull away. But, yeah, I mean, Kevin Durant, he's just – what can you say about him? He's got so much size above everybody he posts up against. It's really hard to get a hand in his face to contest any shot because he moves so quick and he's so smooth with the basketball. And then Jabari Smith Jr., really one of the more unexpected threats in this game. He played about 40 minutes, but my goodness, he was just relentless. He was the main point of attack for the Houston Rockets on their transition. He always seemed to beat everybody to the other side of the floor. Of course, Reed Shepherd did about the same thing he did when he was in Atlanta, had 4 3-point shots, shot over 50% from that aspect. Just not a lot of urgency for the Atlanta Hawks. And I got to say, it was disappointing because even though we beat the Orlando Magic as a proven game, the way we let this game get away from us so quickly really kind of showed everybody that the Atlanta Hawks, hey, guess what? We are vulnerable, which we knew that. The Hawks have been up and down all season long. The winning streak wasn't going to last forever, but I really didn't want it to cap off on such a poor shooting night for the Atlanta Hawks. But that's just the way it was. The Atlanta Hawks had a chance to get their get back, going back home against the Golden State Warriors, who
even the Golden State hospital wing.
Yeah. You talk about an injury real lineup. Hey, surprise! No Kristaps Porzingis in this game. Am I right?
I'm very shocked considering he played a lot for us before we traded him away.
Yeah. Did not see that one coming.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this Warriors team, I don't know how they even like managed to play because I was like I saw like reports on Twitter before this game saying that like I was saying like Golden State was under the I was like it was like under like the legal amount of like players you like had to like play like legal game. So I thought that we would have like saw them forfeit this game, but I mean like thanks they must have called up some CUE guys quick because they still play the game.
They
Uh,
did.
um, fortunately we still won, but I mean. Like when you're um, but I mean, when like Draymond Green is scoring 13 points for you, that's sad. When Draymond freaking Green is scoring 13 points for you, that's sad. Yeah. So this Warriors team had starting lineup was Draymond Green, Guy Santos, or however you say his name, Quentin Post, D'Anthony Melton, and Brandon Pozemski. Leading scorer was D'Anthony Melton with 20 points, followed by Draymond Green with 13, Brandon Pozemski had 5, Quentin Post had 8, Guy Santos had 2. The bench had uh, Nate Williams having 19 points off the bench. LJ Cryer, 12 points. Pat Spencer, the GOAT, had 18 points off the bench, and then Will Richard had 9. Yeah, basically the entire Golden State Warriors starting lineup was out basically. And then for the Hawks, we had Onyeka Okongwu who had dropping 6 points. Moke had 16. CJ McCollum had 23. Noah had 17, and then Nice Daniels had 28. No Jalen Johnson this game because he was out with a wrestling up his shoulder for a bit. But I mean, no Jalen Johnson, no problem. Because because like Golden State had far more people out for them than we had for us. Um, but yeah, and we thought that this would be a Jonathan Kuminga revenge game. It wasn't exactly. He only had 2 points, shooting 1 for 9 from the field, 0 for 3 from three. But Buddy Hield tried to get in it. But Buddy Hield tried to get in, try to get some last second points scored when he finally got in the game with I think like 2 minutes remaining. He tried to get a fast break layup, but he didn't get the layup up on time before the buzzer sounded. Yeah, what are your thoughts on the whole Buddy Hield situation? I guess.
Yeah, that most of the time, when that stuff happens in the NBA,
It's not sports. It's not good sportsmanship.
yeah, it's a bad, it's a bad look. It usually starts with
Sorry,
yeah,
I think I'm getting the flu as well. I'm sorry. I
yeah,
think I'm sick.
yeah, dude. Listen, dude, I know what you mean there. Everybody's catching it nowadays, but yeah, that's a great example. Great example. It's not good sportsmanship. It usually starts some kind of chirping between the two benches. Sometimes it's even led into some fights breaking out. This was not one of those times, though. I mean, if you know Buddy Hield is always the kind of guy that's looking to get some laughs from other players. Buddy Hield only did that because he was playing against his former team, the Golden State Warriors. And the reason why I know that was the only reason he did that is because before he took the layup, as he was making his way down the court, he was staring down Steph Curry the entire time.
That's
Like
probably
he was
that's probably why I missed the layup, honestly, because he was taking
honestly,
time staring at
yeah.
Steph. But
Which honestly made the moment even funnier because the camera panned over to Steph Curry and he was just over there, cracking up laughing. So it was a lighthearted moment. It wasn't anything disrespectful. It was a lighthearted moment. After the game was over, Buddy Hield and Steph Curry went over to greet each other. It's just one of those things. So nothing in terms of unsportsmanlike, just a lighthearted moment. But yeah, really disappointing in the Kaminga revenge game here because
yeah,
that was the big narrative going into this matchup was especially with no Jalen Johnson. You're like, there's no better time for Kaminga to step up than now against his former team. I want this to be one of those games where every time Kaminga scored, he just dead stared Steve Kerr the entire
Yeah.
time. Like that's what I really wanted.
I think
And
we,
he tried.
I think we jinxed him honestly because we were all saying that like he should drop like 40 points,
Yeah.
like a nice triple double, almost staring down Steve Kerr, but
And he
didn't
tried.
happen
He
unfortunately.
tried. Yeah,
Yeah,
you could tell that Jonathan Kaminga was not in his element. I don't think it had anything to do with the nerves. I don't think he was nervous to play his former team. I think the shots just weren't there for him. I mean, because it's not like the 9 shots he took were bad shots. They were all quality shots. They just weren't falling. I mean, it's just one of those off nights. So didn't get the narrative, the whole revenge narrative that we wanted. But Jonathan Kaminga, he's still been a really big heartbeat for this team when he is playing. I really wish he could be on the floor on a consistent basis, but unfortunately,
but
that's just
but you know what? I would rather him like sit out and then sit out a few games and play a few games like during the regular season, but become playoff time when we need our fully healthy team. That's when I expect him to start playing. That's when I expect him to play consistently. So I'm fine with him. I'm fine having like some off nights and even like sitting out to like rest like an injury, maybe like a rolled ankle or something. But but like come playoff time, but like come playoff time, I'm sure you and Chase will agree with me on this. Like, I need him to. Our full team to be completely healthy, no issues, no problems. The fully healthy Hawks team, win or lose, I just want us to be healthy. No excuses. Come playoff time.
right. And, it could always be worse. I mean, we were stuck
Yeah.
with Chris Porzingis for a while. We know how that all went down. So, yeah, I am happy to see that he is on the floor from, on a day-to-day basis. Hopefully next year, if we decide to keep him around, which he's already been talking extensions with the Atlanta Hawks front office, which is great news. Hopefully next year, if that were to be the case, he'll be a little bit more consistent on when he's on and off the floor. But yeah, I mean, it was just an absolute beatdown from the Atlanta Hawks here in this game. Rolled past the Warriors 126 to 110. Biggest headline to me was the big start that Dyson Daniels had in this game. He dropped 15 of his 28 points in the first quarter and actually scored 15 of the first 19 points for the Atlanta Hawks. So, I mean, he just came out with a head full of steam, attacking the war. I mean, I think he really took advantage of the fact that the Warriors didn't have any length inside the paint. I mean, Draymond
Yeah.
Green was the only hurdle that he had to jump over, but for the most part, I mean, he's a lot quicker than Draymond Green, so that ain't really pan out to be too big of an issue for him. But just really getting to the rim, and the the biggest surprise to me was, he started off 2 for 2 from the 3-point line. I mean, Dr. Daniels, Lord knows he is not a 3-point shooter. For
No.
some reason, when
No.
he's wide open, he'll still take it, which more times than not, he will airball. But in this game, I mean, first 2 3-point shots he took in the first quarter, I mean, they were wet like water. I mean, that was a really nice thing to see and really exciting moment for Dyson Daniels. I mean, the whole bench was going nuts because anytime Dyson Daniels makes a three, it's worth the celebration. And then CJ McCollum, for some reason, he has just been a big like third quarter presence for the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, it was the same thing in that game against the Dallas Mavericks. It was the same thing against the Golden State Warriors. I mean, he had 23 points, but 14 of that 23 came in the third quarter alone, and it forced a really early timeout for the Golden State Warriors. As a matter of fact, the Atlanta Hawks opened up the third quarter on a 20-1 run, which really put this game out of reach if the Golden State Warriors had any real shot to begin with. And then Muhammad Gay, what a freaking game he had. You said it, John, 16 points, 10 rebounds, shot 4 for 4 from the 3-point line. I mean, we've all known how consistent of a catch and shooter Muhammad Gay is for a big man in general. But this game, he just really exemplified that, which is really nice to see. And then Zachary Reese is saying, him, but he's been more consistent. He's been sitting around that 20-point mark more so. So really happy to see that. Corey Kispert had a really big baseline jam in the third quarter that got the crowd electrified. One thing I do want to bring up, Jordan, I don't know if you saw this. I did think it was kind of a funny gag from Draymond Green, but
I know what you're
uh,
about to say. I was gonna bring it up too.
yeah, Draymond
I think
Green,
I do it at least. Yeah. You can
yeah,
bring up what the fans were chanting at Draymond.
yeah, they were, on his way to the bench, there was an Atlanta Hawks fan that was sitting right behind the Golden State Warriors bench, and he was, chalking it up with Draymond Green. And then Draymond Green, his response was kind of funny. It did hurt a little bit, but I did think it was funny. He started like looking up at the rafters, like trying to find the Atlanta Hawks NBA banners. Like
Yeah.
he was like opening his eye up and all that. That was kind of funny. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
yeah, like Draymond's got a four-time champion, multi-time defensive player of the year. Draymond's not a bad basketball player. He's just not a scorer like
Nah,
fans expect. Like the thing that like some fans kind of think like basketball isn't just about scoring and like playmaking. It's not about putting up like 30 points a night like on a consistent basis. Like Draymond does the blue collar stuff. He sets screens for Steph Curry to get off the crazy 3-pointers that he does. He boxes out. He rebounds. He plays good defense. I mean like. And that's one reason why Golden State was a dynasty. Um, um, has been a dynasty the past 10 years. It's because of him, and like
absolutely.
and then Draymond's what 35, 36. Like he's getting up there. Steph's like 37. And like there's there's no hiding that they're not a dynasty anymore. They're not a championship team anymore. But you can't tell Draymond that he sucks when he's got the accolades to prove that he doesn't suck. He's just aging, and his body isn't. His body can't do the things that he was able to do 10 years ago. So I mean,
Right. Yeah.
Like same thing with like Steph in some cases. Like Steph's been injured, Steph's been hurt past couple weeks. He hasn't been playing.
I'm just gonna blow my nose real quick. I'll be right
Okay. Like Steph Curry hasn't been able to like play. Steph hasn't been able to play like the two time like the back-to-back most valuable player like he was 10 years ago. Like this is like this is an aging Warriors team, but you can't. This is an aging and rebuilding Warriors team. You can't necessarily. You can't. The Warriors not necessarily suck, but they're not the same team that they were 10 years ago. But Draymond Green doesn't necessarily suck as a basketball player. Like he does other things that affects the Warriors winning. But the guy was the main issue. He was the main guy that helped the Warriors win. Was also out of the game. So, like Draymond, like isn't that effective offensively, but he's more effectively like passing, setting screens. Defensively, he does a lot more than he does a lot more more of the hard work. Leaving Steph, leaving guys like Steph and other guys to score. So yeah, that's how Warriors ran. Yes, Draymond Green isn't the basketball. Yes, Draymond Green doesn't consistently drop 20 to 30 points a night. He doesn't do that, but that's not necessarily his role on the team. And like he's got the ring and the accolades to prove that he's not. He doesn't necessarily suck. He's a 4-time NBA champion, and he's a multi-defensive player of the year. So I'm gonna say like that was not a good look on our fan base to say that he sucks because I mean, because like as much as he like pisses us like pisses us off with how he plays, with like choking players out and getting himself ejected constantly. Like he's not a bad basketball player. He's just passionate.
Yeah, I don't think there was any intent behind the chance. I think they were just trolling. I mean, because nobody really thinks Draymond Green sucks at basketball. They're just going to do any. They just want to get a reaction out of him, which is exactly what they got. So yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think there's any intent behind the chance. I think they were just solely doing it just to get a reaction out of Draymond Green, which is exactly what happened. But
yeah.
yeah, the Atlanta Hawks, we got our win streak back to one game. We have now won 12. Excuse me, we have now won 12 of the last 13 games. We've got to face the Memphis Grizzlies tonight at 7:30, which should be another win. It's back at home. The Memphis Grizzlies, another depleted roster. Jalen Johnson, I'm assuming, might be back for this game.
Yeah, I
If
can check the
not,
injury report real quick. It should be out by now. It's let's see if anything's been posted recently.
yeah, if not, I'm sure we'll be able to hold our own. But regardless, that is where we stand. The NBA season is coming to an end. About time to lock
10
into
games left. This is game 72 for the Hawks. Got 10 games left. Um, yeah, I got 10. Got 10. Yeah, we got 10 games left. But yeah, it's been a wild season for us.
certainly. Certainly has. I know you're checking the injury report, Jonah, but do you have
There's nothing been posted yet about injury. So
okay. Well, do you have any closing remarks before we wrap up this episode?
um, I do not.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Talking ATL Hawks. Next week, it will be the usual crew again as we wrap up more Atlanta Hawks basketball games going into the postseason. But until then, it is as for me and my great co-host, John Joyner. We will see you in the next episode.
Woo-hoo!